So one of the main jobs I wanted to do while I'm up here is actually to remove the sail drive from the boat, which I think is going to be a bit of an involved job, should we say. Part of the reason why I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with it at the moment. We drove it over here and it was all fine. But if I look down into the engine bay, you can see that it's a bit crappy. And I don't really know what the condition of the bellows, which is the sort of black rubber thing you can see there, which is essentially what plugs the hole between the hull and the sail drive. And there's also, you can see a crack in the mount there, or a pretty significant crack in the mount there. The boat does actually have a new mount with it for that piece, so I'm hoping it's going to fit and I can replace that in the process. They recommend you replace the bellows, so the rubber seal, every 7 years. Don't know if and when this has ever been changed, so given it's looking all a bit crappy down there and it's quite an important part of the boat, before we set off on any major trips I really want to get that out, have a look at it, pull it apart, service it, clean it, and put it back together, make sure everything with it is good, and make sure that bellows and seal is all pretty brand new and good, so we know we're not going to be issues with that while we're out at sea. Here we are on the underside of the boat with the other side of the sail drive. You can see it's got this quite a nice, sort of fairly substantial feathering prop, which is quite nice. I think it feels quite smooth. It doesn't actually feel like there's anything sort of unpleasant going on in there. However, I think I'm going to need to replace the anode, which is basically this thing here, which is, I'm guessing, should be attached. Now the boat does actually have this, or came with this, which based on my looking at it, it doesn't look like the right size, so I'm going to guess that this was possibly ordered wrongly or something like that. Concerns also, like if you look into here, you can see just how much sort of barnacles and crap there are in these sort of water inlets here, and a fair bit of barnacles and crap underneath as well. So yeah, I think what we're going to have to do is pull the whole thing off, clean it all out. There's probably going to be a load of crap in there as well. And then get it out, get it stripped apart, get it all serviced, but that'll be a job that I'll do when I'm back home, because it's probably going to take a little while and there's no reason for me to do that here. So, managed to get the oil plug out, drained out the oil. The kind of good and bad news, there's a little bit of emulsification in the oil. There's obviously some moisture got in there, but given that the engine's been sat pretty deep in water for God knows how long, I don't think it's actually too bad. It was actually, only kind of just a bit of it was emulsified. Most of it was actually pretty fresh and even looking still red from, being fairly new oil, so that's good. A lot of oil in it. I think it's pretty well sealed, because I took the drain plug out and literally nothing came out until I went up and removed the filler tap on top, at which point it absolutely poured out. So that, might make me think that the seals are in pretty good condition. Really struggling. I can't get this off. I mean, I could possibly spend the next day or so beating on it and it might come off, but I'm just a little bit worried. I think the splines might be a little bit gunked up. It's hard to kind of tell. There's a bit of sort of corrosion and sea life sort of growing in there, and obviously if that's got in amongst the splines, it's going to make it really difficult. So I think what I'm going to try and do next is actually just remove the entire sail drive with this still attached. I don't think it's going to cause me any issues, and then I can get it home and I can get it on the side and soak it with some WD and various stuff to try and get in amongst those splines, because it's really difficult on this angle, and then use a proper bearing puller or something like that to see whether or not that'll get it off. But yeah, we'll have to see. But for now, like I say, next job is to remove all of the Allen key bolts up on the top here, and see if we can't get this drive out. Well, that was a particularly long and uncomfortable day, as you can probably tell by how dark it is now. I have managed to get both the gearbox and the sail drive out. I've got to say that if you are a contortionist or anything like that and you're finding yourself out of work, go to a boatyard, they'll hire you in a minute, because I don't think there's anything on a boat that doesn't require you to bend into some pretty unnatural positions. And I have spent a long time today. My back is absolutely killing me. Yeah, lots of bolts that just, you know, you can get a 1/16 of a turn on each time, and it takes like 20 minutes to undo a single bolt, and yeah, in the most stress, uncomfortable position ever. But highlight, I persevered, and actually we have managed to get it all out. There's the bottom leg. I was hoping I'd get it out through the bottom, because I have seen pictures, but the hole in the bottom of the boat is not quite big enough for it to slot out. This wasn't too bad to undo. You can kind of see here, hopefully, that there are a number of holes that had bolts in them. They were really easy, just stick an Allen key in and undo them. But then it had these 2 bolts, which are not in line with the hole, and I have no idea how that was sort of able to be fitted. I guess it all went in on one. They fitted it before they fitted it back, so I'm guessing I have to do the same. Wasn't necessarily turning on taking this out, but in hindsight, in order to replace a seal, obviously it has to come out. So yeah, that came out in one bit. This is, yeah, I'll take my gloves off, I don't really want to touch it, but hopefully you can just about see, this is the rubber boot which needs to be removed. And then this is the metal ring that clamps it down, which initially was kind of my concern, because you can see it's pretty crusty and horrible, but it is a pretty substantial piece of metal. I don't think any of the rust is anything but surface, so I think I can actually clean that up, repaint it and reuse it, which is good, because this crappy bit of stamped metal mild steel, as you can tell by how rusted it is about £350 to replace. Not sure where they came with that magical number, but apparently that's what it costs. So I'm pretty grateful that that doesn't really look like it needs replacing, particularly considering that the rubber boot is about £300 as well, so pretty expensive deal. But yeah, at least I've only got to get that kit. Yeah, so hole in the bottom of the boat now, which means the flooding should be hopefully less of an issue, because there's somewhere for it to drain out. Obviously that's not going to work when we want to put it back in the water, but for now, yeah, job well done. Like I say, this was the primary aim. I can now take this home with me and spend a really good bit of time cleaning it all up, servicing it, and getting it, nice and good. So, but yeah, I mean, in general, everything looks smooth a bit. Like, yeah, there's no sort of major thing. There wasn't a lot of crap inside of it, which I was expecting, which is quite good. So yeah, it's been a long day, so I think I'm going to tidy up. I'm going to clean some of my greasy footprints and fingerprints off the boat, so it doesn't stain it too much, and then I think shower, beer and food is the next job on the list. So I'm back home in Wales now, and just had a fairly successful day in the yard. With the help of a sort of bearing pull, I was able to get the prop off, which was good. The shaft's in good condition, and it was just a load of crustaceans and crap that was sort of bunging it up, so that's probably best case scenario for that. Managed to also get the rest of the sail drive apart, and yeah, and also sort of had a bit of a look inside the gearbox, and to be fair, everything looks pretty good. I think the only part that I'll need to replace, other than the sort of usual seals that need to be replaced on it, is the output seal at the bottom of the leg was a little bit damaged. Not terrible, it probably wasn't major, but that would probably explain why there's a little bit of emulsification in the oil. So obviously some water's got in from somewhere, and I think that's probably the most likely place that it's got in, so that's not really a big deal. I just need to get a new seal for that. I'm not sure I think it might come in with the end plate, because getting that seal out didn't seem like it was something that was meant to be done. But yeah, to be fair, all came together pretty well. I've left it all soaking in my mix of vinegar and Coca-Cola, my sort of DIY rust remover. So I'm going to leave that to soak for a day or two, and then we'll get to work with sort of wire brush or something to try and clean up that ring a bit, and then I'll repaint it so it's hopefully going to survive the rusting a little bit longer. But you know, mild steel in the bottom of a boat is never going to survive very long, so I'm sure it'll get rusted pretty quickly again. But yeah, no, pretty successful day. So I'm going to head home now, here with Skylar, who's been sort of waiting to get home for quite a while. But yeah, I'm going to head home, have something to eat, because I am bloody starving. So we're back in the kitchen on a particularly snowy day, and I thought today would be a day I'm going to finish off the sail drive work. It's going to be a little while before I can get it reinstalled into the boat, but I kind of want to get it all put back together and just get it stored away so it's ready to go in. I've got the sort of outdrive repainted with underwater primer. That'll get some more paint once we decide what colour we're going to paint the boat. I've got to give this a quick clean up. I've got the new bellows, I've got the new seal kits. I think I've got everything I need. So yeah, nothing more to do but crack on and get it put back together. So I'm about done now with the sail drive. It's all back together. I think it's come together pretty well. Didn't really have any idea before starting this how it all worked and everything, so I'm pretty happy with the job I've done on it. I think it's looking quite nice. It's not going to go back into the boat for a little while now. You know, we've got a lot of hull work and other stuff to do before it goes back, so I'm going to package it up and just leave it ready to go back in. But for now, that is the end of this video. I hope you find it interesting to look at the process I went through to get this to where it is now. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe as always, and I'll see you in the next video.